Hey, welcome to the Kinda Sleepy Podcast, Take 2. I'm your host, Knowledge. Who do I have sitting to my left?
Miss EP.
The voice of reason today?
I'm the voice of reason today. I am.
Oh, good. I'm happy that, reason's good.
Yes,
Reason is always good. And who do I have sitting to my right?
Money Marv, you already know.
Money Marv in the building. Good to see you, man.
Hey, likewise.
And I don't know what Natty is. I hope he all right. I tried calling him. I went to voicemail. He might be on the way. We don't know. We'll figure it out. And then we got somebody broadcasting live from Brooklyn, the planet of Brooklyn.
Yo, you already know what it is. It's the boy from up top that's sitting here scheming, ready to plot.
Keep your day job, bro. Just gonna say.
Oh, definitely,
Keep
man.
your day
I
job.
got two jobs.
I feel like I need to work on my intro.
You the voice of reason. You the voice
You
of
always
reason.
come on. You come on with mad soft logic. Hey, how your friend doing from last week?
What friend?
The friend that she was emotional about. I'll say it like that. The one that her visitor on her head.
Oh, the lump.
Yeah,
so
the bum
wrong.
The
The bum is going away.
Yeah, the bum disappeared. He went on vacation. Permanent vacation.
All right.
So you stupid. You were wrong for that.
Eviction notice.
You got an eviction notice? All right, so let's go and jump straight in. First off, we got some sad news. As you guys, if you've been listening to us long enough, you know we're based in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, the Queen City. And I got some sad news here. There was a school shooting at Butler High School here in Charlotte. Mecklenburg County Schools said that an on-campus shooting happened on Monday that the schools put on lockdown at 8 a.m. Parents then marched up to the school to get their kids, and they were released about 9:30. One kid did end up dying. The suspect who shot him is in custody, 16-year-old Jatwan Cuffey. I think I said his name right. He is charged with first-degree murder in the shooting of Bobby McKeithen. So Cuffey is 16 years old and is a freshman, and McKeithen's grade is not known, but he's a sophomore. I'm sorry, and he was also 16 years old. Really tragic situation there. Prayers go out to both of the families. One family is mourning the loss of their child's physical life. The other is mourning the loss of a child's, proverbial life at this point. I mean, you're 16 years old, charged with first-degree murder, bringing a gun to school. They're not letting you out until you shoot, if they let you out. Considering how the criminal justice system is in this country, just a very, very sad state of affairs. Moving on to what I like to consider happier news. James Alex Fields Jr., if that name sounds familiar, it's because you probably remember him as the guy who ran over Heather Hare, the young lady who was killed in Charlottesville during the the Unite the Right rally. I think that's what they called it. As y'all president said, that there were very fine people there. This gentleman was one of those very fine people who just happened to kill somebody. He got assaulted in jail. According to the warden or the primary official in that jail, he was punched twice on the left side of the body above the shoulder, in the presence of guards and other folks there. So,
Light work.
Yeah, I mean, I personally
may have to put $5 on his books.
Yeah, I would if I can find out who he is, I'd definitely put some money on his books. Just like the dude that beat up Dylan Roof. I want to put some money on his books.
Oh man, I would send him a whole pack of honey buns or something like that, bro.
Like you gotta get him some honey buns and soups.
Yeah, some Jack Mac. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta look out for the homie that did that, because again, I'm not trying to say violence is the answer or the key in any situation, but neither is trying to run over a crowd of people or walking into a place of peace and committing heinous acts of murder.
In situations like this, where you beating up somebody who definitely is the scourge of the earth, I like to say, I know violence is the answer, but sometimes you got to get the question wrong on purpose.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just the reality of it.
And I gotta give props. If I'm swinging and I get you twice, in the head in front of armed
with the guards right there. Oh, that mean I'm really about that life
That mean I've been doing push-ups.
or something and pull ups, all that. I'm about that action. So I think you know what I'm gonna Google this because I don't like to be inaccurate here. I think the guy that assaulted Dylan Roof, got a GoFundMe.
Wow.
I think he got a GoFundMe shortly afterwards, and it was up to pay for a lawyer. Yeah, Dwayne Stafford, that was his name. So, okay, so I had to go back to this. Okay, so it says an inmate in South Carolina who allegedly punched Dylan Roof. This is coming from a San Antonio news station actually. Dwayne Stafford, a 25-year-old who was booked into the Charleston County Jail in 2015 on first-degree assault and robbery charges, allegedly ran down the stairs from his cell after Roof went to the shower around 7:45 a.m. and hit him, bruising his face and back. So he hit him and knocked him into something, and I guess bruised his back. So an online site posted to Twitter, saying with a link saying you can donate to the man that beat Dylan Roof. According to the online jail records, that later that week, I think it was later that week, he posted $100,000 bail. So I would like to see if this gentleman that punched Mr. Fields could get a GoFundMe so we can possibly bail him out too. I feel like certain charges, like, okay, so if the dude that punched Dylan Roof, the guy that punched Dylan Roof and the guy that punched James Alex Fields, if you in jail for something like child molestation or rape or murder or something like that, I don't want you out. I'm probably not going to donate to you. But what this first degree assault and robbery charge sounds like from this gentleman that beat up Dylan Roof, it sounds like he got in a fist fight and took the dude's cell phone. And so I feel like we should donate to him. I made up that whole story just now. So just roll with it, bro. Just roll with it.
Just let it go.
Just roll with it, man.
Just let it go.
That's how I feel. I feel like the dude that punched Mr. Fields, James Alex Fields, in the head, he's possibly locked up for a credit card scam. I'm just going to assume that too. I made that up as well. Let's just roll with it. If he locked up for a credit card scam, let's please donate to him so that he can, number one, get out of jail, and number two, stop scamming. I just made all that up. So, yeah.
Hey, I'll roll with it.
Yeah.
But you know what you didn't make up?
What's that?
He gave him 2 pieces and a biscuit.
He gave him 2. He ain't quite get to the biscuit.
He was trying.
But he sure got that 2-piece kids meal.
Yeah.
He sure got that 2-piece kids meal in. I ain't mad at that. Moving on a little bit, somebody who's probably in jail now and deserves to get their ass whooped. 28-year-old Jason Donald Wayne here in the Charlotte area was arrested for intimidating Derek Partee, who was a volunteer at a polling place in the Steel Creek area. Here's what makes this story really interesting. So Jason Donald Wayne was trying to intimidate Mr. Partee because Mr. Partee is a black man, calling him nigger and all sorts of racial slurs at the polling place, basically trying to intimidate him into not voting. It started with him trying to intimidate this young lady. Mr. Partee stepped in. The guy started calling him nigger and all sorts of racial slurs and then brandished a firearm. Now the story gets weird from here because it wasn't a real firearm. It was a BB gun. The police found out it was a BB gun. And also, Mr. Partee is a retired NYPD detective. And he's also the leader of the local Republican group and was out there working on behalf of the Republican candidates for early voting. So this guy, Jason Donald Wayne, is intimidating a black Republican into not voting a way that he probably believes and didn't even know it.
Wow.
Which says to me one thing. It's like, okay, so we know that black people are not monolithic. We're all intelligent folks here, right?
No,
we're all intelligent
but
folks.
But here's the thing. In his situation, I mean, you jumped off the front porch thinking that this is the stereotypical black man.
That's where I was going.
Yeah, and little did you know he was on your side. But I hope that moment gave that individual, that African American man, an opportunity to see what the majority of the Republican Party sees.
I tell people all the time that I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. I'm neither. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a conservative. I'm a centrist with liberal leanings. I believe in the Second Amendment, and I don't know whether abortion is. I put it like this. I don't know whether I'm pro-life or pro-choice. I do know that I don't think that me or an old white man in Washington should be determining what women do with their bodies. So I think if there was ever a case for discrimination, I think that's one case for discrimination. I shouldn't be allowed to vote on what women do with their bodies. That's just how I feel. And so I really don't have a dog in the fight. I don't have a belief on gay marriage. I'm not gonna marry a man. I think gay people have the right to be just as miserable as everybody else that's married. That's just how I feel. I believe in equal rights like that. So I'm just saying, I believe in equal rights like that. So, but I've noticed that whenever I disagree with somebody that's conservative, specifically somebody that's white, they always say, "Oh, you need to." I've heard them say, "You need to come off that Democrat plantation."
Ooh.
Yeah, that's been said to me. Come off the Democrat plantation. And black Republicans and conservatives use that phraseology too. They often say we got to come off that Democrat plantation. Yeah, you haven't heard that?
I think I haven't heard that comment said because people know I like to swing with my right first. So,
see, my thing is I like to fight with my words because the thing is if I hit you with my hands, that just means you win. I've become your stereotype. Now, here's my logic.
No, I'm all about reinforcing stereotypes when you have to hit someone in the mouth for disrespecting my culture, my race, and where I stand as an African American man. I'm not for play.
Oh no, I respect that. Now here's the thing though. Now, this is what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying though. They don't have the balls to say it to my face. They often say stuff like this online.
I don't.
You really don't do
to
the social media thing like that.
Keyboards and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, one of the reasons why I'm not big into that is because my grammar isn't correct. So when I'm typing and I don't place a comma or I use there for there, I lost the argument.
Yeah. But my thing is, here's my thing. Like, and see, anybody that knows me knows that I know my way around a computer and a server and various things that go on within the technology world. And so here's what happens typically when they start getting racist. And I learned this from a friend of mine. I bait them into being more racist and take screenshots and send it to their job, number one. And then number two, I like to let them know that they can be touched. For example, I got into a nice healthy debate with this gentleman, Lionel Iribe. That's his name. He's the whitest white guy I've ever seen in my life. And he was like, "I'm not white, I'm Mexican." I'm like, "Well, you have a Mexican last name, but you're probably white presenting in every way, shape, form, or fashion." And so he then proceeded to call me a racist and then say, "You're probably on welfare. You got an Obama phone, this, that, and the third." Just throwing out all sorts of racial stereotypes, which really usually makes me laugh. Mm-hmm. And so what I proceeded to do to Mr. Iribe, because I had time that day, I said, "Hey, is your phone number still do?" And he was like, "Huh?" He got quiet then. I said, "You having a bankruptcy around 2009. Is that still kind of hanging over your head there, buddy?"
Hey, public record search is a bitch.
I started laying this whole life out there. I said, "You still drive that 2000 Honda Civic?" He was shook.
Hey, I need you to. We'll talk offline. I need to see if some stuff's still on the books.
No, it's just here's the thing. In a former life, I was responsible for doing what they call skip tracing, and that's where you basically track people down. And so it's kind of a bad idea to pick at me in any kind of way, especially online when all of your business is already out there. If you are over the age of 35 and you try to pick at me and you're not a hacker, I'm finding all your info.
Yeah. You're all the way out the window.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah, there was a guy that actually posted on one of my posts on Facebook calling me a nigger and all sorts of other information. And it was based on, you remember a couple of weeks ago here on the podcast where we talked about the restaurant, The Peculiar Rabbit.
Yes.
This guy, the manager, I think the guy was the manager there that we called out for being racist. He came under my post and called me a nigger and said all kind of stuff. I didn't get a chance to take screenshots before Facebook deleted it. But there's a guy who popped in my inbox and said, "Hey, this guy is now working on a government contract doing unexploded ordnance disposal, which, if, for those of you that don't know, that's bomb stuff. Down in Puerto Rico. I'm like, now I don't know how much unexploded ordnance there is in Puerto Rico. I would imagine around Guantanamo Bay there's a number of mines and stuff like that. But apparently you make good money on contracts where you have to go over and do stuff like that. So this guy found all of his information. Now, the only reason I'm hesitant to, send this to his company and all that is because a guy that knows how to dismantle bombs knows how to make them.
Facts.
That is true.
And the thing is, if you know how to dismantle bombs and that means you know how to make them. And let's say he has the same resources available to him that I have.
Which he does.
I'm pretty sure he does. Do I really want to do I want to put myself in that position over a restaurant that he no longer works at?
It's not worth it.
Well, to make you feel better, if he's doing UXO disposal, all they doing is grouping together some landmines, a couple other things, maybe some unexploded, whatever, and doing a controlled death.
Yeah, doing a controlled death.
He don't know nothing about dismantling the building. But I wouldn't put nothing past these pilgrims out here because they've been the ones historically blowing stuff up. So
and plus, if he's doing EOD stuff, he's got access to debt cords and stuff like that. That could be a problem. Now, speaking of bombs and speaking of pilgrims, this is what's really interesting. 56-year-old Cesar Sayoc, who is a registered Republican, and also a Native American, who, if I'm not mistaken, was killed by the pilgrims. Sent bombs or bomb-like devices to former President Barack Obama, former Vice President Joe Biden, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, former CIA Director John Brennan, former Attorney General Eric Holder, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, actor Robert De Niro, and liberal benefactor George Soros, Congressman Cory Booker, and former National Intelligence Director James Clapper. He sent all these folks bomb-like devices, and he was living out of his van, which you could only describe as a Trump-mobile, and he was also an exotic dancer.
He used to be an exotic dancer.
Wow, he has a bag of talent.
They listed him. Okay, so they in the news they said he was a bodybuilder, and yes, he was a former exotic dancer.
Once a dancer, always a dancer. The same way.
Dancer for money, do what you want.
Why is
me
knowledge
to do
trying?
what I wanna do.
Are you trying to do like what did you do?
I'm doing my body rolls over here. What you talking about?
What the?
I'm getting my body roll
Body
on.
rolls are cardio.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. See?
But I saw that moment that you just did. She tried to get you to do the body roll again. That's what she was trying to set
That's
you up
exactly
for.
what she was trying to do.
I feel awkward.
So here's my thing, man. What's really interesting. Well, let's not stop there. I got two or three more things we're gonna talk about before I ask this question. This episode is our 50th episode, year anniversary show.
Hey.
And this is what I'm calling, just like the United States government has the State of the Union address, this is our State of the Culture address. And so I'm going to get to this question I have in a second, so where we can assess the state of the culture here in America. But I want to touch on a couple other things first. Gregory Bush in Jeffersontown, Kentucky, walked into a Kroger and killed Vicki Lee Jones and Mari Stollard, who were a black woman and a black man. Minutes before the attack, he tried to enter a predominantly black church before he went into this Kroger and killed these two people. Mr. Stollard had his grandson with him, I believe, and his grandson immediately ran outside where there was an adult out there who grabbed him, put him in the car, and was holding him while trying to get in touch with his mother as this man came out and started shooting. Now, when Mr. Bush came outside and killed Miss Jones, there was a person nearby that had a concealed weapons permit and a pistol who then engaged Mr. Bush and I believe wounded him and kept him pinned down until the police got there. Then there was the synagogue shooting. Robert Bowers killed 11 people in a synagogue in Pittsburgh. He's now facing 29 federal counts and 24 state counts because of that incident. He went in there screaming, all Jews must die, kill the Jews, death to Jews, all that stuff, right? Now, one of the victims was a 97-year-old Holocaust survivor. To survive the Holocaust and then have the final moments of your life, be wrapped in the same sort of anti-Semitism and hatred that probably haunted you throughout your entire life has to be something that, I can't even imagine.
Man, it's sickening, and to think about people that try to justify, well, you should have had armed guards outside of your sanctuary or your synagogue.
How about you just not hate people?
How about you just don't be a piece of shit?
Yeah.
How about you don't
Is
be
it that hard?
No,
I think
how about you don't use a device that was created to protect yourself to go out and commit heinous acts of violence?
Right.
How about you? I pray that someone gives him a 2-piece and a biscuit in prison, but does that solve the situation or the answer? We are getting to a point in our country that it is better to be divisive than to have civil discourse.
Let's hold that right quick. Let's put a pin in that right quick, because there's one more incident I want to talk about before we get into that part of the discussion. Here in Charlotte, coming right back home, South Park Susan. The newly unemployed Susan J. Westwood decided it'd be a good idea last Friday to approach Shell Garris and her sister as they waited on AAA to come jump off one of their cars in a South Park neighborhood, in a South Park apartment complex. She was a senior business intelligence analyst for Spectrum Enterprise. The video got out there, I think, late Friday night, early Saturday morning. I think by Sunday she was unemployed. She was on the video talking about, I'm hot, I'm white, and I'm hot. I make $125,000 a year. How much do you make? All that.
Are you here with your boyfriend?
Your baby daddy?
Your baby daddy.
I'll show you how to spend $125,000 real quick.
I need both of y'all to imitate her again. Sorry.
I'm hot, I'm white, and I'm hot. I'm hot.
Hot.
She was wilding, man.
And then she threatened him. She was like, they went up on the porch on
she
the
said,
on the
"This
balcony.
is North Carolina. Do you want me to go get my concealed carry?"
Yeah. See, and here's my thing. Now,
hold on. Let me give credit where credit is due to those angels, those black women that held restraint and then wild out and just mollywop. For people that don't know, mollywop is a term in Alabama and Mississippi where that means I'm going to hit you, where it sounds like this.
Thanks for the sound effect. I think that
and,
made it pretty
and
clear.
at some point you have to monkey stomp.
Ooh, not the monkey
stomp. You have to monkey stomp. If you don't know what a monkey stomp is,
you don't ever want to be on the receiving end
of a monkey stomp.
No, you don't want to be on the receiving end of them thigh-yows.
Ooh.
Never.
Hey, did y'all ever say them ha-has?
No,
I'm gonna hit you with them ha-has.
No, we didn't say ha-has. We just said thigh-yows.
Okay, so Rrell, you gotta tell us. So up north, you from Connecticut. I know you're in Brooklyn right now. So what was y'all words for that, man?
Oh man, I don't know. We had,
up north gave us the infamous $1.50. So it's like it don't get too much more gangster than that. I'm just saying.
The $1.50. You catch your fade. Like when I was growing up in Connecticut, everybody was getting clocked. New York still be talking about catching fades. The $1.50 still fly. I don't know, man. We didn't. I'm from Bridgeport. We had our own whole totally different language, just like Queens, just like Brooklyn.
Y'all just said we gonna beat your ass. That's what that basically was, right?
Nah, man. Homie about to get clocked.
Oh,
That's
man.
what that was.
That's crazy. Well, yeah, the restraint shown by those two women was absolutely amazing. But here's my question. This is the state of the culture. And we all know that at this point that it seems as though I don't think that racism is necessarily getting worse. I think it's just more public. I think it's more seen. I think
people get more comfortable with
I think people are more comfortable being racist in public. I saw a sign the other day. I was perusing social media and I saw a sign that said, just because you're Donald Trump being the president doesn't make it okay for you to be racist in public. He has bodyguards, you don't.
That part.
So
yes.
I got I want to ask you guys a question. Now, we know, and I said this. I've said this before. I said that we know that Donald Trump essentially came up. His rise was on the back of people who were racist. Okay. We know that for the full 8 years of President Obama's term, he was constantly beating the drum of the birthers, although that was completely seen as a hoax and completely disproven. And he still hasn't unequivocally stated that he was wrong, of course. And so that in and of itself was a form of racism. It's you try to make this black man who ascended to the highest office in the land an outsider, a foreigner, and make him seem as though he was not one of us, was not a part of this country. And a lot of the things that he said were patently racist, inherently racist.
Inherently.
Now, here's the thing. Here's what's crazy to me. Like, whenever you say Donald Trump is racist, there's always at least one person that comes up and says, well, what has he done racist? And I'm always like, okay, so what I'm not going to do now is feed your ignorance. I'm not going to allow you to sit here and force me to do the intellectual and emotional labor of going through all of the racist things that Donald Trump has done just so you can sit back and dismiss it. See, the thing is, if you don't see, I have zero patience anymore for Donald Trump supporters, because at this point, anybody with half a brain can tell this man is racist, number one. Number two, if you don't see that he's racist, it's because you don't want to. And I firmly believe that these folks say stuff like this and they refuse to admit Donald Trump's shortcomings because they find it entertaining to see other people get outraged and to see the pain that is being caused by racist activity. These are the same folks that whenever one of us is killed unjustly by a police officer or somebody in law enforcement, the first thing they say is, what about Chicago? I tend to say there are 50 organizations I can list off right now in Chicago actually doing the work. Now, can we get back to the topic at hand? These people are entertained by our hurt. They're entertained by us being outraged. They're essentially entertained by us being oppressed. And so I have no patience for it whatsoever at all. What you guys think?
Well, I was going to say it goes back to the whole, how can I say this? You know, the Hutu and the Tutsi in Africa?
Yeah.
Where essentially...
Tribalism.
Yeah, no, I mean, you had one group of people basically saying you existing or you being alive was an abomination. So when people try to say something like Donald Trump isn't a racist, to me, you can't even accept the reality that what this man is spewing, you can't even accept when I say that because you've aligned yourself with him. You're not willing to dissect it. You're not willing to have an intellectual exchange of ideas and opinions to contemplate that thought process. So that's what I mean when I use the Hutu and the Tutsi, because it's like they don't even want to look at each other like you are
human.
That's what I'm saying. So I can't even have a conversation with you because you don't even want to acknowledge the fact that I'm alive. You don't even want to. So right now, when what we're dealing with some of these races, you don't even want to deal with the idea or the reality that I am a human being and I deserve to live. I hope you understand, like, one great example of this is when people kept saying, we're not protesting and we're not upset with the military. I'm just saying, stop shooting me. And people said, but
the fact that that's controversial, the fact that I'm saying, hey, can we be treated fairly? Well, why should we?
Bruh.
That's essentially what you're saying.
if I say
Bruh,
don't
I saw
kill,
something today.
don't kill me. That's all we're saying. Literally, do not shoot me. My hands are up. Please don't shoot. So when you have to say things like that and you have a police, not even a police officer, but when you have an elected official that is spewing hate and creating divisiveness in this country, this great country that we've built, like we're not a part of it. I give a great example of the hypocrisy knowledge, so we can just really meditate on this. And for every listener, I really want you to just take a second and think about this. There's a lot of talk about immigrants right now in America, but it's a proven fact that there were people here before us. They were raped, pillaged, and plundered. Like, everything that they had is no more. But we never acknowledged that point. That alone shows the hypocrisy. something that you said the other day, Knowledge, is that black men and women weren't called lazy until after slavery. You get where I'm coming from? So again, it's this ideology that we can't even acknowledge the wrong that is happening in this world. We can't even talk about, people are saying this is a post-racial society. And what I'm saying is that if it was the case, why do we keep having these issues? Period.
I mean, that's me. Sorry.
Oh,
That's my
okay.
phone.
All right. Well,
That's my phone. Sorry about that. Missy P, you got anything to add? I'm just saying.
I don't know. I try to get out of my feelings about it, to be honest. And I have so many different thoughts that it's hard to just pull one and grasp it to really dig into it. But I always say, you know, I revert back to the idea that a lot of people always want to talk about, you know, history repeating itself and, you know, this is where we are now versus where we were back then. But there is no back then versus now. Now is back then. There is no history of it. There is just the reality of it. I'm pretty sick and tired of the concept that I have to tolerate being disrespected in order to protect myself. Because the person that's being racist, the person that's disrespecting me, at the end of the day, like the lady that you spoke about here in Charlotte that, you know, approached the other two women, she completely disrespected them. She threatened them.
Right.
They had to maintain a level of self-control to be aware of their own actions. Like, she could be just ignorant. They didn't have the right to do that.
Right. Nobody is responsible. Nobody is obligated to tolerate you when you're being an asshole.
But we're forced to. So we don't have the same right.
Yeah. It's like, what's really strange to me is that I remember when Richard Spencer got punched in the face and all of the conservatives was like, oh, I thought the left preached tolerance. I'm not responsible. I'm not obligated to tolerate Nazism. Nobody is obligated to tolerate the idea of genocide and anything like that. That's not a view I'm tolerating. You're not obligated to tolerate that.
You're not obligated to tolerate any of that. And we talked about this before we started recording, the idea about being bold behind a keyboard, correct? Mm-hmm. So what happens when reality smacks you in the face? No pun intended. So a lot of people are very big and bold when it's behind a keyboard. But when you're looking another individual in the eyes and there's not a group of individuals behind you, and it's by yourself, when you have to spew that hate and you're not surrounded by 30 or 40 of your individual friends that believe and think like you, and you're standing before me and you don't have a weapon or semi-automatic, they don't talk any of that. They don't have that same. They don't have that same energy. Because say it again.
They're cowards.
For the people in the back.
Well, you actually took words out of my mouth. Speaking of the people in the back, I'm gonna really try not to go down a rabbit hole because I have to also be mindful of what I'm saying, and I don't want to be extremely offensive in any shape, form, or fashion. But with that being said, when there's someone, say for instance, that moves next door. You got two people. You got one neighbor, a new neighbor moves in. They find out the new neighbor is a sex offender. You don't get to know that neighbor. You don't want to associate with that neighbor. You may have some of the same beliefs. You may agree on some things, but because you know who this person is or something that they've done that you don't agree with, you completely disassociate yourself with that person. So how is it that you get to pick and choose? Oh, well, I'm not a racist. I don't agree with everything that Trump or the Trump administration does. I just agree with some of their policies.
What somebody said was that all Trump supporters aren't racist, but they decided that racism wasn't a deal breaker for them.
But that's what I'm saying. Well, why is it that you get to pick and choose, but they've always gotten to pick and choose? We can go back to, when slaves were brought over. They've picked and chosen verses from the Bible to apply to their everyday lives. Like, how do you get to mistreat people and then call yourself a Christian?
Or when you say something really racist and then be like, but I got black friends.
Nah, it doesn't.
You picked and chosen.
You don't get to live that life. Hypocrisy is hypocrisy, and what they're living on and what they're basing their opinions on is hypocrisy. You can't tell me that we should love each other, love thy neighbor, and this, that, and the other, and what Christianity and what Christ lived for. But at the same time, you're trying to treat me like I'm subhuman.
Whenever somebody says I'm not racist, I have black friends, I'm like, yeah, slave masters had black babies.
Right. And then also to piggyback of what Money Marv mentioned about, the fact that they want to talk about immigration, and I hate when people say stuff like, well, if you hate it so bad, you hate America so much, go back to Africa. Well, if I gotta go, you gotta go, because you're not from here either.
Yeah, let's take you back to Eastern Europe or wherever you came from.
But it makes me wonder, like,
Exactly.
is there really where the sense of entitlement is rooted in?
No, well, here's the thing. This entire country, the entire structure that this country is built on white supremacy. The idea that white people are better and therefore deserve more than everyone else. Manifest Destiny wasn't an American ideal. It was a white supremacist ideal. Mm-hmm. It was colonization on steroids. That's really what it was. I mean, if you think about it, when the Pilgrims came over here and when other explorers came over here that were white, that were from Europe, when they started down in the Caribbean and worked their way up, they eliminated the indigenous peoples, and those peoples had done nothing but be nice to them. Darker skinned folks. The Trail of Tears exists. Mm-hmm. We still have black political prisoners in 2018 to this day. People who won't ever get out of and see the light of day. And I think that sometimes we get confused here. I want to put a pin in this conversation because I have a question that I want to ask at the end of, close to the end of the podcast. I want to get something a little bit lighter for a second. We about to go down your lane, right down your lane for a second, Rrell.
Alright.
We finna take a step back from the seriousness for a second, okay?
Alright.
And well, this is gonna be my segue from the serious to the entertaining. So, Blexit. It's a phrase that represents a black exit from the Democratic Party. And so recently at the Young Black Leader Summit, Candace Owens handed out T-shirts that she says were designed by her good friend and fellow superhero Kanye West that said Blexit on it and with the words "We Free" under the word Blexit. As of today, Kanye West said that he's been used by people to spread political messages and he's done with politics. He shot off a series of tweets, said, "My eyes are now wide open and now realize I've been used to spread messages I don't believe in. I am distancing myself from politics and completely focusing on being creative." When asked about Candace Owens, he said, "I introduced Candace to the person who made the logo and they didn't want their name on it, so she used mine. I never wanted any association with Blexit. I have nothing to do with it." So he went on to thank his family and his community for support. He said he thanks his family and community for supporting his actual beliefs and his vision for a better world. At this point, and I got a question. At this point, do we even care?
No.
Man, fuck Kanye.
Not at all.
I miss the
Not at
old
all.
Kanye, not
Yo,
the brain
times
dead
like this,
Kanye.
I wish we still had Bernie Mac, because somebody need to say, "Wake up, Mr. West."
You know that was actually D-Ray?
Really?
That was actually D-Ray Davis.
Well, Bernie
he
would
ready
say,
to speak up.
nah, Bernie would give him a "fuck you, you son of a bitch."
Yeah, Bernie probably would say, "I
Hey,
ain't
I
scared
ain't
of you
scared of
motherfuckers."
you motherfuckers.
Hey, so actually,
I miss
this
Bernie.
this
I do
is
too.
I want to take this, and I'm using what you said, knowledge, but I really want to ask this question. I think we give genius
Mm-hmm.
and we give credit to people about subjects and knowledge for no good reason. The sheer fact that, okay, I give a great example. Michael Jordan is selling T-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
He's the spokesman for Hanes T-shirts. What the hell does Michael Jordan shooting a jumper have to do with Hanes T-shirts?
Well, I think we're mixing two things up.
No, hold on, wait, because I'm trying to get to a point. The sheer fact that people are actually listening to the ideas and the thoughts and opinions of Kanye West in a subject matter that he has not mastered, he does not have any degree of excellence in, and it is proven time and time again. He's not a political expert.
And you're right.
He's not a correspondent. He has nothing more than his opinions and his ideas, and he's spewing them as though they are factual information that has been backed up and researched.
And he said he don't read.
So with
Don't that sound familiar?
so with that no, but so with
Yeah.
that being said, I'm I'm saying, why do we give him credibility?
Here's what I'm saying. Okay, so
Dark Twisted Mind was great.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, whatever the fuck it was. I bootlegged that shit. I knew he was gonna act like this. That's why I bootlegged all his music.
Okay, so let's take a step back. So let's take that analogy you just gave. I think there's a difference between being a spokesperson for a brand, because that's really just drawing attention to a certain thing that you can wear. When we're talking about like actual belief systems and things that affect people's lives, they should probably shut up. We shouldn't put so much weight on that. I think it's very interesting that Colin Kaepernick was told to shut up and play football, but none of these same people are telling Kanye to shut up and make music.
Because he's playing to their narrative.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and so that's the thing.
Agenda.
That's the thing. Now here's the difference between Colin Kaepernick, because somebody would make the argument that Colin Kaepernick should shut up and stick to football. Colin Kaepernick has lived he was adopted by white parents, but being adopted by white parents does not negate the fact that you live your life as a black man. Colin Kaepernick is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, historically black fraternity. He is obviously a black-ass man, despite the fact that he has what some of y'all would call good hair with your brainwash cells. Okay? Colin Kaepernick understands the idea that I cannot live my life as a black man and not somehow in the NFL, where the same things that make me a desirable athlete make me a threat to people who see me in everyday life. I cannot separate myself from those that look like me, because when I stop playing, when the crowd stops cheering, when there's not another down to be played, and when there's another touchdown to be scored, I still have to live my life as a black man. And so why shouldn't I use my platform to make this world better and to make sure that some of my people get justice?
Facts.
So that's just how I see it.
I feel you.
You know, and a lot of times I think that we do put too much stock into what celebrities believe. I remember when, do you remember when people were saying that Charles Barkley was going to run for governor of Alabama?
Why?
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
No, I remember that, but again, it's the reality. I think personally, do we need to evaluate what it takes to run a country or to run for an elected official? Do I think should we have career politicians running our government? No. However, should we have such a stark swing? That pendulum swung completely to hold on. There are certain things, and this is gonna sound kind of crazy. Everyone said, or a lot of people have tried to justify it. Well, hey, he knows business. He's a billionaire, so he should be able to run this country because he runs a good business. This is what I mean by that. Mm-hmm. For a public entity, you don't make a profit. There's no justification for the city of Charlotte or Mecklenburg County. If I have to run a deficit to provide the services of my people, that is perfectly fine because I'm providing a service to my people. So if you told me right now to provide water or to provide police officers to guard this city or parole this city, we're going to lose money, no one would be upset with that. So what I'm saying is, you have someone that's literally saying, well, I can run a country good because I can make money. That has nothing to do with the price of tea in China.
I had a very intelligent person tell me one day that government is the art of meeting unlimited needs with limited resources.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Hey, hold on, say it again.
You have to rewind this and hear it in my book.
All right.
No, but government is the art of meeting unlimited needs with limited resources. Whereas a business is a matter of supply and demand. You are supplying a need or a want to people, and it is an elastic demand at that. I'm pretty sure the people's needs, for the most part, unless your city is failing and dying, are inelastic. You're going to need water. You're going to need schools. You're going to need, adequate housing. You're going to need adequate jobs. But you have limited resources to make all that happen. A billionaire businessman doesn't know about that. They know how to turn a profit. They don't necessarily know how to meet those needs and scrimp and shuffle that around. I always said that being a mother and being a governor are pretty much the same thing. Because I'm going to tell you, I said that this. I think I told y'all recently that if this country was run by black women, there would be no deficit. I mean, how many sisters do you know right now? Single moms may not be, or growing up, the single moms you knew that didn't have 2 pennies to rub together, but somehow made dinner work on the table. Everybody had clothes. Everybody had shoes.
Everybody had lights.
Everybody had lights, food, all that. And Thanksgiving, like what Pac say? And Mama made miracles every Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Yeah, they made miracles every Thanksgiving. If this country was run by black women, we wouldn't have that damn problem. I just firmly believe that. That's just what I believe. You know what I'm saying? But I think that and you said the pendulum swung. I thought that was a really interesting statement there. We went from having a highly educated president and the most highly educated first lady in American history to an arguably least educated first lady in history and a guy who's not nearly as articulate. Donald Trump has a certain type of intelligence. Okay? He has a certain type of intelligence. And that type of intelligence is the ability to brand himself as something or someone. People don't buy. Trump's not a good businessman. He's a good marketer. Trump has gone bankrupt more times than he's succeeded. Okay? Mm-hmm. The thing is, when you do business with Trump, you aren't paying for Trump's expertise. You're not paying for Trump's business savvy, because he's not that business savvy, to be perfectly honest. You're paying for the name. You're paying for what he's billed himself as. You're paying for what he's branded himself as. And he branded himself as that 30 years ago in the era of excess. He took a $1 million loan from his dad, and
small loan.
Yeah, a $1 million small loan with his small hands from his dad. His dad put the money in his small hands, and he flipped it. I'm gonna ask you a question right now. Let me ask you a question right now, Miss EP. If I gave you a small loan of $1 million, what would you do with it? How you could probably turn that into 2 within a couple years, right?
Definitely.
Easy. Real. I know if I gave you $200, you'll turn into $1 million next month. I know I ain't worried about that. But if I gave you a small loan of $1 million, what could you do with that?
I'm automatically flipping houses based on tax liens, foreclosure, and people who are desperately trying to get out of their deeds or mortgages, rent them, have them with an agreement where I don't even have to give any money, pay their rent for a defined time, a year or 2, and then sell the house from under them for their agreed price and just take the profit. Yeah, that's what I do. And I turned that into a couple million real quick, maybe a year or 2. But I ain't put my whole idea out there because that's actually something I'm about to start doing. But anyways, that's just me talking.
I actually have somewhat of a similar idea.
Let's talk about that offline because we don't want to give away too much juice.
Well, no, it's something that I do want people to think about. Because this whole thing with, credit scores and whatnot.
Hold on, before you start, remember, knowledge ain't free no more from us. The price of the brick going up.
Yes,
FYI.
no, I'm not giving it all away. But the whole thing with credit scores and whatnot.
Everybody got to eat, B.
We have to take into consideration some things were meant for us, of course, and some were not. And there's a lot of people, when you speak about, Black women, single mothers that are hardworking, that provide for their families, but yet they can't get ahead because their credit score isn't in a certain bracket. But how loyal and how dependable are those same people if you gave them the opportunity to be a homeowner or own a vehicle that was nicer than what they currently have? Do you really think you would have an issue with them and receiving payment and funds from them? No, because they do pay stuff on time, the things that they can take advantage of. So if I had money, I would get something together. I'm not going into details, but I would get something together to specifically target those people.
There's a program that a guy I know that I met here in Charlotte put me on to. It's called Homes for Heroes. Mm-hmm. And it's specifically for disabled vets, where a couple of banks, I think Bank of America, BB&T, and Wells Fargo are all a part of this. They've purchased these homes, which were foreclosed homes at one point, and they give the homes to disabled vets, but to keep the home, you have to go through a financial you have somebody oversee your finances for a certain period of time, and they put you through like this finance boot camp to where you have to pay all your bills on time, and you cannot make any purchases over a certain amount without prior approval. So if you want to go out and buy a car, you have to talk to them first, and they have to approve you buying that car. And it has to be a need; it can't be a want. If you want to go out and I don't know, buy a motorcycle. I'm known for doing that shit. You have to get approval from them prior to purchasing that. And what it's designed to do is help disabled vets not go into foreclosure, to address the high rate of homelessness amongst vets as well. So there are programs out there kind of similar to that, but they don't necessarily serve the populations that typically need. Well, I'm not gonna say that typically need services, but that typically that could definitely use them, that are traditionally locked out of services like that. Mm-hmm. So that's something for us to think about. But here's a question I want to ask, because this is the State of Culture episode. So when we're talking, so let's get back to Kanye and entertainment. I got a question for you guys. Who do you think is at the top of the game right now in terms of entertainers?
Well, number one, not Kanye.
Cardi.
I'm gonna have to say Beyonce, bro. If it ain't Beyonce, bro,
time out.
It's Beyonce over everything.
Well, number one, that's cheating. It's kind of like playing with the Golden State Warriors in 2K.
Shout out to Klay Thompson, 14 threes, baby.
So
that was sick. Did you see that?
That boy's bad.
That just nasty.
That boy good.
How do you score over 50 points in less than 30 minutes, son?
You get your team. No, seriously. You have a team that wants to see you succeed.
And you know who held the record before him?
Steph
beat him by one. And Steph was happy to see it.
He literally gave an interview and said after the first half or the first quarter, Steph said, "Hey, go for it. I think you have a chance. Keep shooting."
That's love right there.
Get it. That's how you know you fam right there.
That's love right there. Somebody, LeBron would have tripped him.
But no,
LeBron would have been like, "I'm the star on this team, B."
So I would say who's the top of the game right now. You gotta take Beyonce out of it.
You can't take Beyonce.
No, I'm just saying hypothetically for me, I gotta take her out because she's the GOAT. Like, you leave her where she's at. So for me, it would have to be this year. I'm going with Pusha T.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like
now I'm talking about top entertainer, not top album yet. I'm talking about top entertainer, period. I'm talking about acting. I'm talking about singing, all that.
I'm going to have to give it to Kevin Hart. He had a good year. 2018, he had a good year.
Kevin Hart. Okay.
Because he fell off like a bad bag of dope. Real hard.
He came back.
But he came back
made a good
hard.
comeback.
Now,
Yeah,
I'm going to see your Kevin Hart, and I'm going to try to counter with a Tiffany Haddish.
Ooh. Okay. If you're going to do that, then
I think Tiffany Haddish did her thing. She's been doing her thing.
I'm going to just shut up then.
I think she definitely has been doing her thing. I don't give her top, though.
Okay. Who you got?
And we're talking.
And I'm not on a Cat Williams tip. I'm just
right. No. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Who you got? I know, Rrell, you said Cardi.
And we talking only black entertainment, right?
Hold up, I got some alibis.
Who you got?
Hey, so I gotta throw Lil Duval in there. Smile, bitch.
Okay, I'm with you on that one.
I'm living my best life.
Yeah.
Ain't going back and forth with you, niggas.
You niggers. So,
I'm not mad at that.
I got to throw him in there. Cardi by default.
Yeah.
And there was somebody else I wanted to throw in, but I'm not sure. I'm going to hold off on that.
So what about Issa Rae?
Nah. Nah.
She, not quite. Maybe not at the top, but she up there, though. She making some noise. She's up there.
I wanted to say Joe Budden too, man. He like.
Hey.
Let's talk. Wait. Let's put a pin in Joe Budden. We getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Pump.
I said I was gonna hold off on that.
Hey, y'all.
Pump it up,
man. Y'all gonna have to start listening to Joey, man. Joe Budden, the prophet.
Hey, Joe Budden went.
Did y'all just see the new rollout for the
Dog, that shit is so funny.
New York?
Yeah.
Yo, the Family Matters joint.
They did a Family Matters themed kind of intro for their podcast. Thought it was the dopest thing I've seen in a long time.
Hey, but
they do got a live show coming up too.
Let me just say, for the culture, the sheer fact that Joe Budden is the one guy before Pusha that went at Drake and he dropped 3 diss songs that were like almost 15 minutes each. Come
It
on.
wasn't 15 minutes each.
Yo.
That making of a murderer. He did body Drake though. Drake knew he couldn't come back.
So
He did
what I've
22
realized in the
back to
rap
back.
game, if you get beat up, all you got to do is not talk about it.
You notice that Drake didn't say nothing else after Common came at his neck.
I'm not finna talk to anybody that can beat me up. I'm just gonna act like it didn't happen.
And see, that's the problem I got with the game these days. Let's move to that part. I got a problem with hip hop right nowadays, man. These rappers ain't thorough like they used to be, man.
Hey, man, don't you remember on a time in life? Let's take it all the way back to the early 2000s when you had beef. Someone literally said, "You know what? You super ugly. You're not just ugly.
You super ugly.
You super ugly.
Nah, let's talk about that T.I. and Ludacris beef.
Ooh.
Oh,
Well,
Lord.
Luda said, well, T.I. came on there and said, he said, now you leaking out your whole right side. I done tried to be a nice guy. You don't like me to feel it likewise. Shout it, I've been bucking for a long time. God spit the wrong rhyme. See, don't I grab the chrome dime and drop your ass like a snitch, do a dime. Let it be known, the city mind, shout it. You got a squad, they just cool because they rhyme with you. You lose it all tomorrow, would they still ride with you? You better ask yourself unless you want to die, killer. I ain't gonna lie, Tigger. These rappers really don't deserve to be, but keep running your teeth. I'ma come and disturb your peace. I was like... Woo!
Wait a minute.
And that was a freestyle. That was Rap City the Basement.
Hey.
Half of these rappers out here, if they still had the basement, wouldn't be doing nothing.
Well, again,
Let's not forget that he squared up with Floyd.
T.I. did square with Floyd.
hey, that was
That was a bad idea, but he did square up with him.
that was for love.
We do a lot of stupid stuff for love.
No, that wasn't for
Now-
love.
now-
That wasn't for love.
That was for pride.
That was for pride. That wasn't for love.
Now, don't get it twisted now. Luda did come back on that
he-
stomp.
Oh, he did. Hold on, but the point that I think you're trying to get at is that there's a new culture of rapper out right now that doesn't like to acknowledge. And once you get a rapper that will acknowledge the way in which rap was created, it's a competitive sport.
Right.
So when you get someone like a Kendrick saying, "I will be cordial, but don't get it twisted. I won't beef. I won't smoke with all of you, but I want to do it on a lyrical sense. I'm not gonna talk
That
to
nigga
you
said,
about."
I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you. Remember that?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Great.
So it's like
on
when
the
you.
same track.
That's what
Man.
that's what I'm saying. So when you have someone like, and I gotta give props to Cardi. Now I don't rock with her on everything that she does, but when you have someone that says like, "No, I won't smoke. You said we got beef, so when I see you, don't we got beef?"
If a bitch beef with me, then it's beef forever.
You know what? She actually did.
She
say
said that. She told y'all.
You beef with me, you gonna beef forever.
That she let y'all know what it was back then.
EP,
Here's the
EP,
biggest
you gotta
problem.
do the voice. Come on, do it one time.
I
EP.
can't. I don't have it.
This is the problem I have with these new
I'm
rappers.
kind of irritated by it, to be honest.
What?
I
The,
mean,
the Cardi and Nicki beef?
Yeah, I was sick of it.
Why won't
Nicki shut up?
Why won't Nicki just throw these hands if she the queen?
And I guess maybe that played a little bit. That played a part.
Nicki been trying to bully that girl the whole time, man.
Like, I feel some kind like, yo, I fucks with Nicki with some of the music, like the Barbie Dream, the shit. Yo, fuck with it hard. That's the shit. But her as a person,
She kind of trash.
you may as well put her in the same boat as R. Kelly for me.
Damn.
She kind of trash.
Seriously, I can't. I don't fuck with her
Damn.
personality. No,
That's harsh.
No. When
With
I
R.
say
Kelly?
yes, with R. Kelly, and this is why it's not so much about her.
Ugh.
It's not so much about her actions and what she does, or right or wrong. It's about I completely have learned you have to separate the person from appreciating their talents and their music. So I can appreciate her music. I don't necessarily fool with her as a person. I don't like her.
Well, I
Would you
can't
want
do
to go out with Nicki one night? Would you spend one night in New York with Nicki, like out, just going out, hanging
Nope.
out?
Not
I'm
at all.
good.
I would.
I feel like
I'll
Nicki,
pass.
I feel like
Okay.
Nicki the chick that'll leave you at the club and then be like, "Oh, just meet us here."
Right. I'm good. Love. Enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Like,
think
nah, I'm
Nicki.
good.
I think
Good.
Nicki. What happened to Nicki is what happens in this game a lot of times. I have the culture, so I tried to get people to buck on you and turn their back on you, but when they didn't, It's kind of like she's realized, people are beginning to realize that she's all fake.
Nicki goes in the same boat with Kanye. Like we
I can
put these,
put that-
we
I can
put
put that
these,
in.
we put these people again. We've talked about it before. We put these people on pedestals, and they don't belong there.
Truth be told, I think first of all, I think Nicki Minaj as a femc, as a female MC, is overrated as fuck. I think she knows how to make a good song.
I don't.
Which I think
yeah.
is I think it's fair to say that she knows how to make a good song.
I think her stuff was better when she had Safari.
I do too. I think her stuff was better before she had plastic surgery.
She used to be a female MC.
I listened to
She's now a female entertainer.
I listened to Massive Attack, and I listened to the verse from Monster, and I listened to her first stuff when she was first coming out, and I'm like, that's a different person.
Man, hold on. So she's coming out now in a way where you stop talking about what you did. When I feel like when you're a rapper, you lose the fight the moment that you start talking about what you did in the past. Come get these bars.
And that's how I feel. Here's another problem I got with the culture right now, as far as hip hop is concerned. I don't like the fact that certain people, and I'm calling Drake out on this one. I don't like the fact that certain people get a pass to take shots at everybody, and then people just give them a pass. They're like, oh, well, he's still selling records. Like, if you take a shot back, like, that's why I have a rule. I don't debate or discuss hip hop with people that don't actually listen to hip hop.
That's the point.
When people say stuff like, oh, well, Drake won because look, his album went platinum.
That has nothing
That has
to do.
nothing to do.
That has
with
nothing
him
to
getting
do with
roasted.
the argument. The sheer fact, I left hip hop alone in the idea of trying to defend rap to certain people. The moment that people told me that, you know what, it was okay for Rick Ross to be a corrections officer and tell me that, and tell me,
kingpin.
yeah, to tell me how big of a kingpin you are. When we know for a fact, to be a correction officer, you can't have any priors. So all that jail talking, how you was talking about you did time and you was on the yard and this, that, and how you were on the yard though.
I'm a leave that conversation alone because I got a whole slew to say about people doing dirt without records. So I'm just gonna leave that one alone. I don't know. I
Okay,
don't know about that. So here's
Money
what I had
Marv
issue.
has nothing to do with the comments that Knowledge just spoke of.
So here's where I said that hip hop had become the WWE. Jay said something like, I got a Jay-Z quote for just pretty much anything, but Jay said, "Y'all respect the one that got shot. I respect the shooter." When we started giving 50 Cent props for being a victim, I mean, think about it. You got shot 9 times. You're a victim. Like, that's real. Like, that's a real thing. You got somebody caught you slipping and popped you 9 times.
And that person was
Now, you
still walking
survived.
around.
Well, they ended up. He said it in his song. Homo shot me 3 weeks later. He got shot down. Now it's clear that I'm here for a real reason because he got hit like I got hit, but he ain't fucking breathing. That was Daryl Homicide. I forgot Homo's last name, but he was actually a really good friend of Mike Tyson. And so when Mike won his next fight, he actually dedicated that fight to Homo. And I study all this shit. Don't judge me. But one big thing about it was that we started glorifying him being a victim. Now, am I glad he survived? Yeah, because he made some amazing music after that. He made some amazing stuff. But at the same time, I'm not one of those guys that's sitting around like, oh, you extra hard because you got shot.
Right.
But that's the same thing I'm saying about people giving Drake a pass for taking shots. But then, he's sending them shots, but he can't take none.
Hey, man, I got to give respect to that man, Pusha. Pusha literally said it. I want all the smoke. And he did it in a way that I respect because he literally said, all right, check it out. You want to be creative? You want to try to come at me? You throwing these jabs? All right, I'm just going to go at you. You went back at me? Okay, cool. I'm going to go back at you. And now when I go back at you in a way where it's like I'm literally saying like, now, come on. This is real.
You want smoke? We got smoke. Let's go.
Now we did our warm-up game. This is the one-on-one. We played 21 a little bit. Now it's for real. No, everybody else get off the court.
Yeah. Pusher the shooter.
And now you telling me now I gotta go back inside. My mama calling me inside.
All right. With that being said, let's move conversations because I don't want it to ever be said that I said anything negative about Jay Prince or anybody associated with Jay Prince. Okay.
I ain't saying that wonderful fella's name.
Jay Prince is an amazing, generous man, and he has an amazing book that's out right now, which I actually have enjoyed reading, The Art of Respect.
I gotta figure out if I'm gonna read that or Charlamagne new book first.
You might want to read The Art of Respect first.
All right.
Yeah, The Art of Respect is really
tomorrow.
now that's going to take us to the next portion, the rise of independent what seems like independent media. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my boy Vic. Vic just recently dropped his book called The Code. Next episode, we're gonna have Vic on the phone to tell us a little about the code. It's called The Code. A guide for hold on, I want to say the name right. I don't want to say the wrong name. I want to say it right. It's about coming together with reasonable black people, basically. Here it is. It says The Code, a blueprint to achieving solidarity among reasonable black people. You can find it on Amazon right now. They got paperbacks. They got it on Kindle, everything. I bought the paperback and I purchased a copy on Kindle. It's only $10. It's actually very well written, and it's kind of a good it's a good book just to really help you with your day-to-day living and how you function day-to-day and how you maneuver through the world, and can come to terms and come together with other reasonable black people, you know. So it's actually a really good book. I'm gonna have Vic on. He's actually gonna be in Atlanta next week. So for my people that's listening in Atlanta, we'll have more details on the Facebook page about that. But once again, it's The Code, a blueprint for achieving solidarity among reasonable black people. Y'all check it out. But also, we were just talking about books that we're reading. Like we said earlier, Jay Prince has a book out. Gucci Mane dropped his autobiography, which was actually pretty well written, and it was authentically his voice. Whoever was writing with him did a really good job. Charlamagne is now in his second book. But also, we're seeing a rise in independent black voices.
Stop his reign.
Oh gosh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you having a moment over here.
I mean, it's goo-wop.
I get it.
I'm not gonna lie.
Straight from Bessemer.
If Gucci walked in the door right now and said, "Hey Marvin, we're going on tour, bruh. Let's go."
You quitting your job
Tomorrow. It's goo-wop.
I'm gonna need you to reevaluate your standards right now. No, I get it though. That's like a once in a lifetime thing. I'll probably take a leave of absence my damn self.
Yeah.
I really would. I ain't gonna lie. I would take a leave of absence. But no, so we're seeing a lot more black voices in podcasting. We have a lot more black voices on YouTube with their own channels. We're seeing a lot of independent media. One of my favorite podcasts is The Read.
Hey, before you go there though, about The Read and the independent podcast, I want to make sure that we acknowledge the ones that are being done the right way in creative spaces.
Right.
So I like things that are done for us, by us, created for us. But if we're using I don't like the idea that some people are utilizing us. They're giving us a platform, but they're utilizing us just to make more money. So you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah. They're using they love us as long as we're making money, but they don't necessarily agree with what we're saying. Or they don't necessarily support our beliefs.
Yeah, in the moment that we become too big,
problematic.
Yeah, they can take that voice away from us. So again, I do support the idea of like a revolt and things of that nature coming up for us, by us, to be able to speak for the culture. I can really respect that. But go ahead with
let's put a pin in that and come right back to it.
Yes, sir.
So one of my favorite podcasts, The Read, hosted by Crystal and Kid Fury, is really one of my favorites. They're entertaining, and I feel like I'm listening. Like they're both members of the LGBT community, and they're both black, and so they have a unique perspective there. I feel like I'm listening to a conversation sometimes that I wouldn't be privy to anywhere else in the world, because while I'm not, you can't confuse me for somebody that's anti-LGBT in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I just don't have a lot of LGBT folks in my regular day-to-day interactions that I'm close to like that. One of my closest friends is a member of that community, but we don't talk every day. Like we catch up every once in a while, and she doing her thing, I'm doing my thing, but we always come back and we always catch up. But I don't have anybody in my regular day-to-day sphere of influence and sphere of sociality that I talk to, so I listen to that. There's a new podcast with Yvonne Orji from Insecure. She's Molly from Insecure. And Lovey from the website Awesomely Lovey, and her own couple of independent podcasts called Jesus and Jollof. And it basically is two Nigerian girls talking about their experience here in America and how they became successful. So that's something that I really like. We have a lot of local podcasts too. Kicking Shit podcast, which is always, they always showing us love, always showing us support. We got Hypocritically Incorrect with Maurice over there. He's doing his thing. Unapologetically Black. We See You, Sis. A bunch of different podcasts
Phone
here.
Wallet Keys.
Yeah.
Phone Wallet Keys.
Light Skin Joe, what's up?
So it's a lot. Now we talk about podcasts. What are some of you guys' local podcasts that you listen to? I'm gonna come to you in just a second, Rrell, because I know you in New York, so everything's local to you.
Yeah.
But what are some of the other ones? I know Black and Red. You put me on the Black and Red.
Yeah. Shout out to Terry Brown with the Black and Red. Also,
Two elephants in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alicia Cobb. Yeah, she was actually our first guest on this podcast. Much love to her.
I'm not gonna say that I put you on that, but I did.
But you did though.
Yeah,
so I'm just saying you did.
Yeah, Money Marv.
Who else you listen to, man?
Man, all my friends
We
actually.
got podcast 30-something.
Podcast 30 something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thompson. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
It's what's the podcast? They used to come in here after us. I got them in my subscriptions. They hadn't posted in a while though. What's the name of it?
No, let me go on Facebook. I followed them on Facebook. The guy, the man and the woman, it was like a
couples. That's Thin Line Between Love and Hate.
Okay, yeah.
Thin Line Between Love and Hate is one that we listen to here. We like them. They're pretty dope. But there's another one that used to come in right after us. Elevated Radio.
Okay.
With those guys, DJ Squale and all those guys. So we definitely listen to them. Yeah, so it's a lot of local podcasts that we listen to. I want to give a shout out to every last one of them. And there was another podcast that I wanted to definitely give some love to from the Kind of Sleepy fam. Head Wraps and Lipsticks. Definitely want to show Head Wraps and Lipsticks some love. So
also people can check out the Black Podcast Network.
The Black Podcast Network.
Yeah, it's there for all Black podcasts. You can kind of pick up on some.
Yeah, definitely got to check that out.
Yep.
So, Rrell, who you listening to, man? I know you up there. Everything local to you is national to us. So, I know you got Bodega Boys.
Yeah, and I listen to a lot of stuff just to get my local feel on what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so I got Bodega Boys. I like the podcast. I can't tell you one thing I've heard on there though, because it's just a mashup of ridiculousness. But
Jesus and Mero are like that though. That's why you love them and hate them at the same time. Because I don't like the 15-minute intros. Your podcast 30 minutes, 15 minutes of intro.
Exactly. Yeah. So they let me know what's going on East Tremont, so I ain't got to go up there. So they got it. But other than that, really, it's Brilliant Idiots and Joe Button podcast. That's like my everyday. And
I also listen to Serial. I like Serial because it gives us a good glimpse of what's going on in the criminal justice system. I really do definitely enjoy that. Drink Champs. I do like Drink Champs.
Drink Champs been slow a little bit lately.
Yeah, it has been kind of slow.
I mean, I don't really have nothing that's local that's not really national, but I do listen to Van Lathan.
Okay.
But some of the random stuff that we probably won't ever talk about that I do listen to is Side Hustle School, Stuff You Should Know podcast, I Am Rappaport. Every once in a while, I jump on Oprah Super Soul Conversation. Maybe 85 South every once in a while. And then the, damn it, I can't forget it. I forgot his name. Dude was always talking finance stuff that really got me in the mindset of never financing anything again. I can't remember his name. Oh, man.
Here's a couple more. We got Two Dope Queens, which is Phoebe Robinson and Jessica Williams. Phoebe has her own podcast that I like called So Many White Guys. That's So with 3 O's. You got The Extraordinary Negroes, which is dope. The Nod. The Nod is super dope. I can't believe I forgot about The Nod. Rap Radar. They do some dope stuff. Yeah. And then you got I'm gonna say Flip the Script. Flip the Script usually has a decent person come on there from every once in a while. But there are a couple short run podcasts that I like too. There are two that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't know if I mentioned Code Switch, but definitely check out Code Switch as well. But one of the short run podcasts was Atlanta Monster. If you're from the South and you hadn't heard of Wayne Williams over there, the Atlanta Child Murders, that's a good podcast to get into because it gets into deep background about the Atlanta Child Murders. And then there was another one, being from Alabama, this one was really, really big for me, S-Town, which talks about a small town in Alabama not too far outside of where I went to college at and not too far from where I called home for a while. So, you know, it's
That's a good one.
yeah, S-Town was
That's a good
good.
one.
It started out one way and you thought it was going to be wild, and then it ended a completely different way.
I had no idea what I was listening to at first. Somebody told me just listen to the first 2 episodes, and it's not like a regular podcast. It's like telling a story.
Right.
And the way I explain it to people, which is probably way wrong, it's like the audio version of Making a Murderer.
I can agree with that, actually. But back to these independent black voices. Now, what you said earlier, Money Marv, was you said that you don't like people using us for a certain benefit, and then once we become too big, they either don't want to pay us or they feel like they can get rid of us. Now, earlier in the show, we talked about how Joe Budden was kind of killing the independent media game because Joe Budden's never really been affiliated with a traditional media source outside of the radio when he was on Hot 97 for a while.
Yeah.
And so you look at the work he did with Everyday Struggle with him and DJ Academics on Complex. And when Complex didn't want to come up off the bag, you know, he did. Deezus and Mero did the same thing. Deezus and Mero is on Showtime now, ain't it?
Yeah, no. So peep game on that. And I hate for it to get to a situation like that. But if I elevate your brand, and that's one thing that I can respect about an entertainer like Kevin Hart, I don't want to do that work for hire anymore. I want to partner. Because there's a different vibe when you're partnering with someone as opposed to I'm just a worker.
I think that's the deal that he ended up getting with Revolt, though. I think he's partnering in his work with Revolt, whereas the Spotify deal he getting paid for.
Okay.
So I think there's a balance there. I think that what Joe wanted to do, and this is just me completely speculating. I do not know Joe Budden in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But I've been a fan of his music, and now I'm a fan of him as a media personality. I think that he's doing kind of the same thing as Charlamagne's doing, is that they're partnering with folks and executive producing shows and stuff like that because they enjoy doing that and guiding a vision rather than always being on the mic and in front of the camera. When you can build a vision and when you can build the elements of something and then let somebody else drive it because that's how you see it, there's a lot more in that. There's the pride of ownership, but there's also the pride of guidance there that you find in that media space. And I think that's kind of where Joe's career is evolving to. He's a very intelligent guy. He always jokes about him being a high school dropout, but he's obviously a very intelligent guy. And a lot of what you see now with these media personalities embracing social media, he was doing with Joe Budden TV back when folks still had to carry camcorders. You know what I'm saying? Before we had, you know, phones to videotape us everywhere we went, Joe Budden was doing this back then. So I think he's just kind of, he got in that lane early and started evolving with it and is now one of the leading independent voices, so to speak, in the media. I like to think that him, Jamel Hill, Charlamagne the God, and Angela Rye are kind of at the forefront of this wave of young black media personalities.
Angela Rye, not just because she's absolutely gorgeous, but because she has some you
can't forget that she's gorgeous.
No, she is gorgeous, but she's earned the right. And even one of the reasons why I respect Joe Budden is like you have some form of validity behind what you're saying because you've lived that life.
Right. And you've earned the right to speak that way. You've earned the right to do those things.
To understand that Angela Rye served in the political black caucus and she earned her stripes there, right? To see how many times she went on CNN and defended and stood up for our rights and our culture, right? To see Joe Budden like, no, I'm a rapper's rapper.
Right.
So I'm not for the industry BS, right?
I like the fact that Angela Rye is able to balance being still cool and still down to earth and sometimes, delightfully ratchet with all of her intelligence at the same time.
So in real life,
Hey, I like the
Ratchet
fact
past.
she can get on CNN with the straight backs and let you have it.
so
for real.
So for everyone on the podcast right now, on the show, help me to understand how you guys are navigating that for your individual lives.
What do you mean?
Because that being able to walk that fine line of being super educated, super poised, and this, that, and the other, but from time to time, like I'm dealing with that in everyday life where honestly, I've never in Birmingham, that passive aggressive, it don't work.
Right.
That's how you get punched in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm dealing with it at work, that's weird. That's a weird energy. That's a weird vibe where I'm not used to a man not being able to say or speak up, and they're being passive aggressive.
Rrell, let me let you take that one because I know you deal with folks a lot at your job.
Bro, I'm glad you said that because I got so many wild examples, but I'm gonna give you the basis. I'm the youngest on my team. I'm the youngest to do what I'm doing. I'm not gonna put my whole business out there, but I'm taking on a lot of crazy stuff at work, and I appreciate my support team. But I came from working very entry level corporate stuff in the South where there were those passive aggressive and those little slick people. I don't deal with that anymore. Now that I'm in New York, I'm in a different environment. I work business to business. I'm seeing more people my age that are running businesses, startups, and companies like that. And then my team is coming to me. I had my manager and his manager out with me today. And instead of talking business, they're talking to me like, hey, dang, you must have beat us here. We met at a Starbucks. I'm like, nah, I just ordered my stuff online, just picked it up. I ain't waiting in this line. And they're coming to me for guidance on how to build the future of the company. So everybody is supporting me because everybody is getting their just due. You don't have to worry about that much competition because one, nobody wants to do what I do and nobody can do what I do. So I can be myself. The other day, I was in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and like one of these trendy Asian fusion Vietnamese Thai restaurants with the CEO of my company from Poland. And, to most people, that's a big thing. We're in there. We come in, the music's blasting, they playing Outkast. I'm like, it's a little hip hop vibe going on in here. And then on the way out, I hear, my baby left me. And if you know what that is, that's that Akinelli
You
coming.
put it
I'm
in your mouth.
I got these two 40-year-old, 50-year-old white men in this restaurant. And normally it would be, oh, let me hurry up and get them out of here. Then I'm like, this ain't my place. I don't run this spot. And you in Brooklyn, let that ride.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't rush him out. And then on the way out, me and the CEO start talking about BMWs. I like BMWs. I got one. And we started talking about M cars for 30 minutes. We not once talked business the whole day. We got sidetracked with cars. And that's how I maneuver. I learned to be comfortable with being myself. And it works for me.
That part.
And, at first it started off with me being comfortable, being uncomfortable, getting used to being uncomfortable. After I got past that, I can walk through the office. I can be me. I dress differently than everybody else. I dress a little bit nicer than what's required. But I understand the type of people I'm meeting with. I can't go into Gucci or Ferragamo to meet with them, their CEOs, presidents, and directors, and I'm dressed what they consider business casual, which is trash. So if I come into the office and I got, whatever I'm wearing, that's just me. And they just understand, oh, yeah, that's so-and-so coming through. Yeah, he's the guy that works Manhattan. All right, cool. And everybody knows me. They're cool with me. The only thing that bothers me is the handshake. And fellas, you know what I'm talking about. When you in a meeting, you with all these professional people, and you get ready to leave, you shake everybody's hand, you go up to the brothers, and you know the setting you're in, so you shake their hand like a normal, decent human being. You get up to the senior white dude or the senior Spanish dude or whoever it may be, the Colombian, the Turkish dude, the Iranian dude, whoever's in the room, and then they hand go up like they about to dap you. You get a little confused, like, do I go in for the dap and the hug? Do I give them a soft dap? Is it a pound situation?
Yo, I always default to just the regular handshake. That's my default.
Too.
That's my go-to.
And then when he pulled me in like the Matrix, like Damon off of off of Friday After Next, I'm like, oh, word, bro.
Well, all right.
Appreciate your love.
Let me ask you guys something. Do you ever feel like when in those situations that it's not genuine that maybe they interact with you that way to get some sort of validation?
I used to. Nowadays, ever since I read the book Four Agreements, I don't take nothing personal. So I
Okay.
don't think that much into it. I'm like, hey, that's how he feeling. Hey, that's how he feel. If he feels the need that he has to try to relate to me, then he has some insecurity about who he is. It ain't about who he thinks I am.
Right.
I went in to give him a handshake. So
I'm
if he
not.
coming in,
I'm not responsible for their insecurity.
Right.
exactly, it ain't got nothing to do with me. So if that's how he feel, maybe I'll see him. Maybe I'll see him up in the Bronx at La Marina or something. I don't know. He might be hanging out on Dykeman on the weekends. Who knows?
Who knows?
But if that's how you feel. Just to give y'all a forewarning, I'm keeping it real. I'm reporting live from the streets. And I'm about to hit the bodega. I'm about to hit well, not the bodega. I'm about to hit Crown Fry to get me some food. So we live in the streets.
So we live in the. So now Kind of Sleepy is live in the streets of Brooklyn. That's what's up. I'm not even mad at that.
So ignore my order.
so Miss EP, let me ask you a question. I'm gonna mute you right quick, bro.
All right.
So Miss EP, let me ask you a question. How do you navigate, being at your job? I know we are pretty much working predominantly Caucasian areas. So
it's a tough, touchy subject for me. I given the profession that I have, it's tough. We often talk about Black women and where we fall on the totem pole.
Right.
And not only am I a woman in an area that is, it's predominantly ran by men, predominantly ran by white men. And then you have white women. And then you have, well, I say white men, Black men, white women, Black women.
Okay.
And I am the youngest, the only Black female in my entire department. Yet my position is, if you had to, rank it, it's higher than some others.
Gotcha.
And so it was one of those things where you have to come into, it's not about other people. It's not about other people, how they view you. It's not about other people and your interactions with them. You have to be confident in yourself, kind of like Rrell said. You have to learn to be confident in who you are, what you know, what you bring to the table. And it's not about a comparison. I don't go to work and compare myself to the next person. I don't go to work and compare myself to the lady that's worked there more years than I have. I don't go to work and compare myself to the lady that she's older than me in age. It doesn't matter. You go to work and you sit at your desk and you do your job. I go to work, I sit at my desk and I do my job. And as long as I'm blowing this shit out the water, it don't matter to me what you do. My interaction with you, as long as I'm cordial and I'm professional, it's not my responsibility to judge or keep up with your opinions of me as a person. Because I'm at work for work. I'm not at work for a, popularity contest. That's not it. I don't have to, I keep it cordial. I interact with people. I'm friendly. I'm positive in the office and amongst my teammates and things of that nature. But it's not my responsibility to come to work and get you to approve of me. My work speaks for itself. And as long as my work speaks up for itself, you can't tell me shit at work. Just saying. Like, and when people do that whole thing, I speak to the janitor and I speak to the CEO the same way. That's been my attitude for years. Like, as long as I know what I'm doing and I'm confident in my abilities at work, it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters to me.
I know with me specifically, I've had an interesting professional journey. I've had like 3 careers at this point, maybe 5, maybe 8, who knows. I've had a lot of different experiences as far as, but most of my life has been around, I've always been the black speck in the cup of milk, so to speak, in most of my areas I've worked in. I am now working. I'm more comfortable in the role I'm in now than I've ever been in any role professionally since leaving the military. My boss, it's funny. My boss, he's in San Diego, and I'm here in this area, and we have our one-on-ones every week. And I remember like probably month 2 of working there, we had we spent our whole one-on-one conversation talking about Biggie Smalls. Like, we really talked about the Notorious B.I.G. for 30 minutes.
Wow.
Like, I'm dead serious. Like, my boss is just really cool like that. My team that I've had an opportunity to shape and mold at this point is really cool like that. So I'm now working in an environment where I'm very, very comfortable and where I can speak my mind. Like if I'm in a meeting, and specifically with this organization, like if I'm in a meeting and my team is there and I'm comfortable with the team that I'm working with, and I have done this before. I have literally said in a meeting, "Oh, that's bullshit." Like I can say that because in the very, very short amount of time that I've been there, I actually have earned the right to say that. They know I don't mean any harm by it because they know what I'm saying next is going to be something valid. I've proven myself to be competent and well above what they expected from the person that's sitting in this role, which is why I now have multiple people reporting to me. And I'm helping shape the way that they view certain things and the way that they handle certain things. My boss at the same time, Chris will tell you that's stupid. Like Chris has sat in a meeting before and been like, that's stupid, and here's why. Now, I'm a little bit like, now, if I don't know the team like that, I'll say, well, let's look at it this way. I'm really good at taking a situation that doesn't make sense and asking questions until it no longer makes sense to you either. And so that's how I've always navigated it. One thing I pride myself on is I do two things very well at work. I can pretty much tell when something's going to happen. I've gotten pretty good at predicting what leadership is going to do or what decision they're going to make. But I'm also good at shaping the narrative for my leadership as well. And that's something that you have to do. You have to manage expectations upward. And that's how I've kind of gotten able to do a lot of what I've been able to do. Am I as far as I want to be or should have been or could have been? Had things gone perfectly? No, I'm not. But am I happy with where I'm at? Absolutely. And I'm going to keep growing and keep building, not just in my career, but also on my personal side. But so when we talk about navigating, I think specifically for Black people, navigating predominantly white corporate spaces is two things that we have to do and that we already know how to do well. One is code switch, and two, we have to know how to craft the narrative. When you give your leadership, I put it like this. All right, let's look at it like this, right? Money Marv. Let's say you're working on a project.
Of course.
And let's say you got one option which would make some money, but it's the easy way out. And your folks want to take the easy way out. And you got another option that'll make a whole lot more money, but it's going to take a little bit more work. So how do you craft that narrative? What I do is that I take this easy option and I'm going to craft it as a false choice. I'm gonna craft that narrative for the easy option in a way that you don't even want to pick that one anymore. You're now excited about doing the extra work because you see the return on the investment. And so that's how you have to manage those narratives upward sometimes, and sometimes across your team. I've had a team before where it had a really low morale. When you have a team with low morale, that's a sign sometimes of poor leadership or poor working environment. I've dealt with both. I've dealt with crappy leaderships, crappy working environments. And in my last role prior to this one, I had to deal with both. So, it's just one of those things. I've been a consultant. I've been a contractor. I've done all kinds of things. But when you have a good working environment and when you have good leadership and your team still has low morale, then it's because something's still missing. There's still a disconnect. And maybe the leadership is not as good as you think it is. And so another thing that we have to do in corporate America as people of color when dealing with primary Caucasian folks is that we have to be very, very honest about what it is and what it ain't. Sometimes, you look at things and been like, well, I feel like that could have been done better if XYZ had just done XYZ.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're going to get blamed for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's sometimes, and you both have dealt with this. I know I have, with you being younger, with you having a black face, there are people who will not give you things just because they don't want to see you win because it takes the shine off them. You have to win anyway.
It's crazy you mentioned that. I was recently talking with someone at work, and she mentioned that there's another black female, and she saw her out in the parking lot, and she spoke to her. Now, this particular female, she was a higher ranking, coworker.
Right.
She spoke to her. She said she looked right past her and didn't speak back.
Mm.
And it wasn't a, I need something from you. I'm trying to come to you and, ride your coattails. She simply spoke.
Sometimes it's your own people.
Sis didn't speak back. And it wasn't like, oh, I didn't see you. It was, I don't see you because I don't want to see you. I said,
Man,
a lot of
damn
people,
shame.
a lot of people had that it's too many of us in the room mentality.
Yeah.
Because if you're in the room with me, you're taking away some of my shine.
Now, let me tell you what I can appreciate about my job. I really like my job, if y'all hadn't noticed yet.
You do, huh?
I was in there's a woman of color on my team, younger woman of color. And we had to meet with a senior VP who's also a black woman. She now this sister, she is bad. I'm telling you. She's mid to late 40s. She comes in every day in heels. Hair is always laid. I mean, she's a senior VP and she just be walking through and she got it going on. So we had a meeting with her. It's just me, this woman of color, and this senior VP. And the young lady who's on my team kept saying, she said something about so we're talking about cash management and cash management services. And she kept saying cash money. And this senior VP looks at her and says, sis, if you say that one more time, I'm going to think you're ready to take it over for the 99 and the 2000.
And that is an example of being confident with who you are.
And the beauty of that is the entire room relaxed. It just relaxed. It's one of those things where you ever been in a situation where you like the only black person in the room and then another black person walk in and you look and you get a nod, they give you the nod back, and then you automatically like, all right, cool.
Yes.
It's like, you all right, cool. So it's one of them situations where you walking into this situation where this person's a senior VP, 2 or 3 levels above you, and you're talking to them and you don't know what kind of person they are, because sometimes when you get to that level, people forget, where they once were and that they were once you at one point. And so you're trying to be extra professional and trying to keep it together, and then they just say one thing that makes you relax.
Somebody recently described it as like the dopest fraternity ever. Who said that?
I don't know, but that's a perfect example though.
I don't want to call her Molly. I want to say it was Molly.
Yvonne Orji.
Yeah,
Yvonne
Orji. She
Orji.
said it.
Yeah, she's dope.
Either she said it or Tiffany Haddish, one of the two.
Yvonne Orji is super dope. I like her a lot. And we're gonna wrap this up now. But all what we just talked about though, we're talking about how to navigate through white spaces as a black person in the workplace, leads me to the final question that I want to ask in terms of the state of the culture here. And we're talking about American culture as a whole, specifically black culture, which, truth be told, should be the entirety of American culture, because every single creative and cultural movement in this country started with us. Number one. That's a fact. So I have a question for you guys, and I want everybody to think about this before you answer.
Time out. Wouldn't it bother you though?
What's that?
If you're a person of Caucasian descent, Anglo-Saxon, to know that everything that I have, everything that I like, my seasoned chicken, my collard greens,
because they love soul food.
My
Potato salad with raisins.
Like
and Nutella.
Like anything. No, seriously, anything that's cool. Elvis, Justin Timberlake, basketball.
Had to take it from
Football.
a black person, right?
So I mean, everything that you love or enjoy in your life, you ain't had nothing to do.
Motorcycles.
You get where I'm coming from?
Ben Hardy and Cliff Voss. Motorcycles.
Would that not offend you?
Well, seeing as how I've never been a white person, I wouldn't know how that feels.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really fathom that.
I can imagine it would though.
I would think it would suck, but luckily I don't have to feel like that.
I think that's where for some, of course not all, but I think for some that's where there's the amount of hatred where it stems from.
Some of them have an inferiority complex as it relates to that, possibly.
Yeah.
Like it literally offends some people to see successful black folks because they feel like it should be them.
Yeah, to this day I always reference, I'll never forget being in 7th grade in math class. And little white boy sat beside me and we got our test back and he said, "How'd you get a higher grade than me?" I said,
or going to the University of Alabama and everybody automatically assuming you're an affirmative action admission, when in reality you walked in there with a 32 ACT score and they came in with a 19.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to flex for a second.
Get your flex on.
You made it 32.
Yeah.
You overachieving ass Negro.
You for real though? Or
uppity,
you just
super
kinda-
I'm
smart,
dead
Uncle
ass
Tom.
serious.
Well, no, I'm
Did
not
you
that.
study?
Nah,
I was hungover. It was classic weekend.
Man.
Kayvon got a 35. You know Kayvon, don't you? My homeboy,
You know what?
the Matthews.
Hey, so you know what? This. Never mind.
Anyway, no. Here's my question.
Oh, new Kappa League having that.
Hey. Sir, I'm an alpha. I am an alpha. Here's my question. Are we free? Considering the fact that we still have to code switch and occasionally maneuver in
No,
certain
sir.
ways,
No,
in
sir.
certain ways,
I would,
are we free?
I would say
No.
I would say we're not free out of the sheer fact that there are forces beyond our control that can mitigate and control your life. Are we free in the sense that we have the ability to try to fight? Absolutely.
Mhm.
However, to truly be free is to be free indeed, and we don't have that. The sheer fact that I have to code switch, the sheer fact that you have to think about who's going to hear your podcast before it comes out, the sheer fact that I can't say what I want to say on here right now is the fact that we're not free.
I agree. What do you think about that, Missy P?
We'll never be free in another man's land that was never designed for us. Nothing about it. Nothing about it.
Man, you old Mississippi light skin looking man.
Now that the mic has
gon-
been completely dropped,
I'm talking about
No, I'm serious. Like we have rights that we were given, right? We have rights that we were given
that we can't even exercise
right.
often.
That someone decided to write down and they said, I think these are okay for you. And then we've had to fight for some of those to be adjusted over the years. And still to this day, like, we have a right to play the game in another man's land, but that's it.
Mm.
And as long as we play the game right, we're good. We're
As
okay.
long as we stay within certain boundaries.
Right. But that's the thing, like whether we go back to talking about corporate America and switching it on and off, whether we talking about trying to get ourselves on somewhat equal footing, whether we try to talk about breaking the ceilings and setting different molds for ourselves and the ones that come behind us, we have a right to play those, games, so to speak. But no, we're never free. When we get through talking about this, I do have an additional question that I would like to ask.
Okay. Rrell, what you got? Are we free?
Nah, man, we ain't free. And just like Money Marv said, the fact that we got a code switch, the fact that I got to turn on, sometimes I got to turn on who I am at different times, and I got to explain myself. I got to watch my demeanor, watch how people are looking at me. I always got to defend my culture when you guys steal it. Just give it time. That's all it is. Give it time. Because they stole our fashion, they stole our music, they stole our food, they stole our swag, and then they capitalize it, make money off it, and get the next Negro trend. I don't think we free at all. As long as their names are still on the titles, the deeds, the legislature, the statues, we ain't free. And then they keep rewriting their own history. And that's one thing that's constant through history. The winners always get to write the story. Just thinking that the story gonna change eventually.
Speaking of history, not the sidetrack, but do you know how proud I was? Do you know they finally started telling the truth about Christopher Columbus in school?
I'm glad New York embraced it wholeheartedly. Ain't
No,
no more Christopher Columbus
seriously.
Day.
No, like they really started telling the truth to kids in elementary school. Like my daughter came home and I was helping her study, and I was like, they finally told y'all this nigga lied. That he really was stupid.
About Indigenous People Day.
They really like that. And then in the little thing, they go through all the different explorers and they talked about how, he didn't really find America. It was an accident, and how he was mean to the Native Americans.
Thank you so much for your swift
Telling the
departure
No.
from what we were discussing.
No,
Thank
no,
you
no. It
for
was
your rabbit hole.
No,
Appreciate it.
for me, no, it wasn't a rabbit hole. No, seriously, for me, I felt like out of all the other crap that we have, that was the one little pinky toe they gave us to say, here y'all go. We'll finally tell the truth about
Meanwhile,
something.
slaves are still being referred to as guest workers in certain parts of Texas.
Oh,
FYI.
gosh.
But back to the question.
Yes.
Are we free? If I have to answer that question, well, first of all, let me say unequivocally, no, I don't feel free. And the reason I don't feel free is because I still look at the separation. I often look at the separation that there is between the way I have to raise my child and the way that the white friends I have to get to raise their child. I have often said to white people, white associates, white friends, that I have to raise my child. You get to raise your child to live. I have to raise my child to survive. I don't have the luxury. I don't have the luxury sometimes of letting my kid be a kid as long as they possibly can. I have to teach them how to be strong enough to survive those things that mean them harm. I guarantee you the conversations that my father had to have with me about surviving a traffic stop aren't the conversations that my white friends are going to have with their sons about how to survive a traffic stop. I promise you that their children probably won't come home crying because the white kids on the playground refused to play with them and called them names like monkey and the N-word and stuff like that. You don't have to deal with that, and you don't understand how it feels to know that these are the same traumas, these same generational traumas that we have to teach our children how to navigate through are ones we experienced. And prior to it, and we're the first, and some of us are first generation out of integration, to have integration in their education. But our parents were called the N-word and were treated poorly by, white children when they were kids. And I'm pretty sure my grandfather dealt with the same thing. I told somebody the other day, they said that kneeling is disrespectful to the troops. Okay? I said, you know what's really disrespectful to the troops? The fact that my grandfather, my father, and myself all went overseas to war zones for this country, came home, and still have to deal with the same shit. We still have to deal with police brutality. We still have to deal with racism. We still have to deal with all of this prejudice and bullshit when we signed up to support and defend a Constitution that when it was written wasn't written for us. So you tell me don't tell me about disrespecting the flag when you disrespect my entire existence every single day.
Facts.
By the fact that we have to deal with these certain things. And so I think about that. And when I asked that question, are we free? The first thing that came to mind was one of my favorite songs of all time was Common's song, A Song for Assata. And at the end of the song, you hear the voice of Assata Shakur saying freedom. You ask me about freedom, I'll be honest with you. I know a whole lot more about what freedom isn't than what it is because I've never been free. I can only share my vision with you of the future about what freedom is. The way I see it, freedom is the right to grow, is the right to blossom. Freedom is the right to be yourself, to be who you are, to be who you want to be, and to do what you want to do. And so the thing is, in that respect, when I decided to stop playing the respectability politics game, because I realized that they would never see me as respectable, which is then in that instance, I'm free. And when I talk about respectability politics, let's talk about something, for example. When somebody says, if we want police to stop killing us, we need to stop killing each other. Sir, fuck you. I'll tell you why. Because if it's 10 black folk that get killed in America, 9 of them going to be killed by black folk. Number one. Number two, on what planet do I need to stop doing X to be treated fairly by Y, who I pay taxes to protect and serve me? So this respectability stuff has got to go. And until you let go of respectability, you won't be free, not in your mind or in this country. That's going to do it for us here, man. We've gotten up on almost 2 hours here. And before we close out, man, I want to give everybody a chance to get a final shot on episode 50, the year anniversary episode of the podcast. Rrell, I'm going to start off with you, man.
All right, so I'm gonna rebrand somebody else's quote, but this came from T.I. All credit due. Obviously,
Here come a whole bunch of big
Harris.
words.
Nah, these was regular ones.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious in this bitch. Go ahead.
He said some real prolific, simple shit. He said it's a damn shame that they more mad about NFL players taking the knee, or black NFL players taking the knee, than white people shooting up the spot.
That's real.
That's all I got to say.
That's real. That's real.
Get the strap.
Money Marv, what you got?
No, I was gonna let EP go first.
Oh, okay. With this being like such an important episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's a time for reflection, and you know I'm always big on analyzing and reflecting, and what can you do and how can you improve and all this old good stuff. But I think let this episode represent your baby step, right? Because there's so many of us that always want to see the whole picture. We want to paint it all out. We want to plan it all out before we can even take a step. But you don't have to plan the whole thing out before you even take a step. Just take a step. Because if you never take a step, you never move. If you never take a step, you've never started anything. So you're letting time go. Time waits for no one. And next thing you know, you're sitting up talking about how you wish you could have done what it was you wanted to do. So take that baby step. Go out there. Make something happen. Do it.
That's what's up. Money Marv, what you got?
So I keep up the trend of dropping a T.I. lyric real quick.
Oh, gosh.
I'm Pussy Pumping #1.
Nah, not that. Not that at all. So what I've noticed, especially about what people think about people from the southeastern region, because we have a regional dialect. The country niggas over there, shawty, I'm southern. So I want you to understand that African Americans in the South, we know what we're doing. We understand what obstacles are before us, and don't get it misconstrued that just because you hear twang that we're not educated and progressive. That's all.
In the words of Nas, them southern niggas ain't slow.
Yup. Hey, can I add something real quick since this is the 50th?
What's that?
Give me about 30 seconds, maybe a minute.
Yeah.
So, like Miss EP said, man, this is a reflection of what happens when you get your team together and you guys got the same goal. Because this was me and Knowledge sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings having these deep conversations, and me saying every other Thursday, damn, bro, we need a podcast, or this should be on film. And we said that all summer. And I'm like, man, we need a podcast. And finally he hit me up one day. He's like, hey, bro, I'm going to the studio. For what? For the podcast. I'm like, oh, word. So this is just what happens. It don't matter how old you are, because I know a lot of people that still do music. I'm in my 30s, and people looking at me like, you still messing with music? Bro, yeah, bro, I just got to the point where I can afford the equipment.
Right. Freaking Fonte just put out one of the best albums of the year.
Yeah,
He's 38.
Back to that though.
Yeah, that's another story though.
But this is just what happens when you get a good team behind you. You guys sit down collectively and say, you know what, let's do it. It ain't gotta be perfect. We started off wrong. We still got probably recording issues and quality issues. But you know what? We figured out how to get on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, all of that in a week. We figured out how we're gonna have our format just by talking. Get it done. Just do it.
And video coming eventually. Once I get another camera, we're gonna be good to go.
A whole lot coming.
Yeah, man. Well, want to thank you guys for tuning in. Closing out, man. I guess what I'm gonna say is, man, it's been a wonderful year. I hate Natty wasn't here. But yeah, man, 50 episodes, you know, is no small feat. I mean, I know there's other podcasts out there with more, but this is ours. And that's what makes it special. This is not just ours, this is yours. So for everybody listening to us, for everybody that sent me a text or sent me an inbox or told me they wanted to beat me up because of something I said on the show, or you wanted to beat Natty up because something he said on the show, or everybody that wanted to hug Miss EP for keeping us in line.
It's all love.
We really appreciate y'all, man, because this has just been an amazing year, and we're going to keep going. We got more coming soon.
Yeah.
Got a lot more in store for you, man.
Talk that talk money.
And it's a couple things. It's two things that I just want to say before we get out of here. Number
Man,
one,
hey, stop being humble right now, man. You at number 50.
nah, it's just
How
two,
many people thought you was gonna fall off? How many people thought you weren't gonna
man,
record?
a bunch,
Huh?
man. A bunch.
Talk that talk, money.
He just gonna start something. We gonna see how long he gonna do it.
But we good though. I told y'all for the next 2 years, every single day, I'm
his
just showing the fuck up.
His viewership ain't gonna increase.
Yeah,
Come on,
I
man.
heard it all, man. But at the end of the day, here's the first thing I'm gonna say is make sure you surround yourself with people who want to see you win. If you don't, if you have people around you, like some of your enemies be real close to you, some of your enemies be staring you right there in the face. Surround yourself with people who want to see you win. If they're not adding to you, they're subtracting from you. If you're not adding to them, then what are you there for? You gotta surround yourself with people who want to see you win. My dad used to always tell me, make sure you get on the elevator with people who trying to go up, not with people who trying to stay on the same floor or go down. So I dedicated myself just literally over the past year and some change to surrounding myself with people who were going up, and this is part of the result of that, man. And my life has just gotten progressively better every single day with the love, support, and the appreciation of people that are around me, and I really appreciate them. And the second thing I want to say, and the only reason I want to say it, is because she didn't say it. Protect your peace.
Oh, it was coming.
Protect your peace. Don't let anything that costs you your peace is too expensive, and don't let other people disturb your peace because you control the level of peace you have. And
It's all you.
It's all you. You control that. That's the one thing you can't control. You can't control how other people can act. You can always control how you react. Last but not least, of course, as I always say, getting out of here, make sure y'all be free. Choose to be free. We know what society looks like, but be free. Be 5/5 of a man. Don't continue being 3/5. That goes for the women too. I'm sorry. Money Marv, you want to say something, bro?
Nah, man.
You sure?
Nothing. I'm just.
I feel like something real profound about it.
No, it wasn't anything.
Be 5/5, man.
No, it wasn't anything profound. It's truly knowing where and how my life has been impacted by this individual, and just knowing everything that he's had to endure to be able to make this work. So it's just like, it's a proud moment. Number 50 may not seem like a big deal to anyone else, but it's a lifetime. This is a lifetime in the making. And truly think about when we on number 150.
You get that's coming.
You get where I'm coming from? Think about when we have those 15-minute commercials. Because we paying those bills.
When we get to 150, the price of the brick going up again. Just
When we get to 60, the price of the brick going up.
Hey,
scale, man. You got to scale, not inflation.
Trying to tell you, fish scale. Anyway, we out, man. We'll check y'all next episode, man. We might take next week off. I don't know. I'll let y'all know.
Peace.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Bye-bye.